Justice journalist, and yeah, and I'm friends with John Shipton on Facebook. Just name dropping here. Oh, by the way, that's Assange's dad, Karyn.
Welcome. to the 275th Julian Assange Sydney Town Hall gathering. We are here to wake people up. Our purpose is to foster an awake population that is capable of resisting corrupt systems of governance. Governments, political parties, media, social media, our judiciary and large corporations are all part of modern-day corrupt systems of governance. We are often given the impression that these institutions are adversarial, working to keep each other honest. But if we critically analyse their behaviour, we see them working in concert to promote war and introduce measures that violate our basic human rights. The illusion that we have independent systems of governance is maintained through compartmentalisation and hierarchical control structures. Compartmentalisation involves institutionalised secrecy to ensure that most people don't understand the big picture or realise who their ultimate authority really is. Most people are therefore rendered ignorant of the information they need to understand the exact reasons for what they are employed to even do. The hierarchical power structure of our institutions ensures that most people don't have the authority to act ethically, even if they realise that what they are asked to do is fundamentally wrong. David McBride is serving 5 years and 8 months in a high security prison because he tried to hold his superiors to account for covering up war crimes in Afghanistan. He wanted to show that the war crimes were being covered up for political reasons. Richard Boyle is struggling to stay out of prison for providing the public with evidence that the Australian Taxation Office was engaged in unethical methods of revenue recovery to favour large corporations over small family businesses. Coupled with compartmentalisation and hierarchy is the great push to create a digital prison for everyone. Being forced to use digital IDs to prove we are over 16 to use social media will help to bring the digital prison closer to completion. Many people who enjoy using social media for communicating with others will likely opt in for the digital ID without realising the full implications of giving our corrupted systems of governance greater ability to surveil and censor us. While the Australian digital ID remains optional, the best thing we can do for our human rights will be to give up social media and develop stronger social connections in the real world. Joining our weekly gathering at Sydney Town Hall every Friday is a great opportunity to form strong connections with others who believe in the power of truth for bringing about peace, justice, and freedom. We need to be awake. We need to be free to speak the truth so we can all be involved in making the world a better place. We need to hold our corrupted systems of governance to account. The Assange movement continues. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth. Free, free, free the truth.
He's an ATO whistleblower, blowing the whistle on the ATO targeting Scotland to favour corporation. She's been reporting on the war in Israel and Palestine and the Zionist Federation. She's adopted the mainstream lifestyle.
David McBride has an appeal on Monday at the ACT Supreme Court, where he wishes to have his sentence of 5 years and 8 months either reduced or eliminated entirely and be set free. If possible, I would like you to contact Mark Dreyfus and let him know that you think it's appalling that an honest whistleblower like David McBride, who released information of government and military crimes, is the only person facing a jail sentence, and that those that deserve to be in jail are running around with medals dangling off their chest. On Sunday night, there's a gathering for David McBride in a place called the Descent Bar in Canberra. I think it starts about 6 o'clock. Then the following morning at 9 o'clock, that group of people and others will be gathering outside the ACT Supreme Court to protest this outrageous travesty of justice before the court goes into session at 10:15 on Monday, the 3rd of March, 2025. Please do what you can to help David. Oh, also, you can donate to David McBride through Chuffed, CHUFFED. He desperately needs the funds. His legal case is costing a fortune. So if you can help him by writing to the Attorney General, Mark Dreyfus, by supporting David's legal fees, by going to Canberra or being in Canberra and attending the gathering on the Sunday night at the Descent Bar, or even better, going to the court at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, the ACT Supreme Court, and then going inside at 10:15 and scrutinising these evil, corrupt judiciary. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we stand here today in defense of something fundamental, the right to speak the truth. In a free society, truth should not be controversial. Medical science should not be dictated by politics. Doctors should not be silenced for using their expertise to care for their patients. And yet here we are. Doctors are being censored, silenced, and persecuted for speaking the truth, for questioning flawed policies, and for daring to challenge powerful interests. What happens when doctors can no longer speak freely? What happens when medical debate is no longer allowed? Patients suffer, the public suffers, science itself suffers. We are seeing this play out across the world. During the pandemic, doctors were told to follow orders, not science, not evidence, not clinical judgment, but orders. We were told not to question, not to debate, not to explore alternatives. Any doctor who did was labeled a conspiracy theorist, a spreader of misinformation, or worse, a danger to public health. But since when has questioning been a crime? Since when has debate been dangerous? Science itself is built on questioning. The great medical advancement in history, from antibiotics to vaccines to life-saving surgical techniques, came from doctors and scientists who challenged the status quo. But now, those who question are punished. Doctors have lost their medical licenses for prescribing safe and effective treatments. Doctors have been smeared, censored, and blacklisted for discussing scientific studies that challenge corporate narrative. This is not about keeping people safe. This is about control. When truth becomes a threat, when questioning becomes a crime, when science is decided by bureaucrats instead of doctors, we are no longer living in a democracy. We are living under medical tyranny. We must ask, who benefits from silencing doctors? Who gains when early treatments are suppressed? Who gains when vaccines and specific pharmaceutical are pushed as only solution? Who gains when regulators strip doctors of their ability to practice medicine independently? The answer is clear. Big pharma gains, governments seek more control gain. The people, they lose. This is why freedom of speech is important. A government that can control what you say today can control what you think tomorrow. We cannot allow this to continue. Medical freedom is not privilege. It is a right. The right to informed consent, the right to seek second opinion, the right to medical choices based on science, not political pressure. And most importantly, the right of doctors to speak freely without fear of persecution. We must take a stand. We must demand that doctors be allowed to practice without fear of losing their licenses for speaking the truth. We must demand that medical science remain independent from political and corporate influence. We must demand that free speech remains protected. Because if we allow censorship to continue, we are not just silencing doctors, we are silencing the truth itself. And a society that silences truth cannot survive. We must stand for freedom, for science, for the right to speak, question, and think freely. Because if we do not fight for medical truth today, we may not have a chance to fight it at all tomorrow. Ronald Reagan once said, quote, "Freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on," unquote. Thank you.
We are all Assange.